Okay, so I am so excited today to have a conversation with the amazing, beautiful, talented Sheri Scott. And Sheri, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure thing. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm Kristen Egan, team leader for Keller Williams Gulf Beaches, part of the Keller Williams Chadwick group here in Pinellas and Pinellas County. So we are coming to you live right now on Facebook. And Sheri, you know, I am so excited to talk to you. You are one of those people from the day I entered this market center. I heard this buzz about you got to talk to Sheri Scott. You got to meet Sheri Scott. Who should go talk to Sheri Scott? She's just fantastic. And so I had this reputation and this thought of you in my head before I ever met you, because so many people mentioned your name to me. And you're one of those quiet, you don't get up in excitement. You're just one of those steady, faithful people who always shows up. And so I'm excited to have this conversation because I think the result has been real organic.
Thanks, Kristen.
You're welcome. So I'm going to start with some stats because I happen to know that you're not good at bragging about yourself. So I'm going to stop bragging for you. Is that okay?
Okay, go ahead.
In the last 12 months, you've closed about 20 deals, 19.5 to be exact. And of those 20 deals, you closed a volume of over $6 million, mega agent status. And you are in the top 2 individual agents in our office in the past 12 months as of right now. So you have crushed some pretty solid business this past year. What I love, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, I figured out your average price point, and it's $313,000. And you know why that's a big deal, right?
Yes, yes.
You both know why that's a big deal, because
so I have to work really hard to get 6 million, right?
Right. Well, it's interesting the vastness of the listings and the properties that you work with. You work on every end of the spectrum, right?
Yes, I say I'm an equal opportunity realtor because I'll be doing a $2 million deal and selling a $20,000 vacant mobile home lot.
Right.
So I don't turn anybody away.
Right, exactly. And that's why I said that's a pretty impressive number based on the fact that you have just this little ring going on in the mobile home park where you've sold several of those, and then luxury deals just the same. So it's just a very exciting thing that you've 20 deals, $313,000 average price point, and $6 million in the last 12 months. So good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so let's dig in a little bit. We want to know who you are and what you do and how you've gotten to the point of the success. So let's start a little bit back and just tell us a little bit about you and what brought you to get into real estate.
Okay, well, I'm going to show my age, but I got my real estate license in 1992. And I think I've done pretty much everything in real estate that a person can do. I've been a real estate assistant to a RE/MAX agent when I first started. I was a closing coordinator, so I actually did the transaction management, and I worked with a girl who dealt with Keller Williams, the Baldini group up in Palm Harbor and Bel Air. My husband has his residential contractor's license, so we dabbled in flipping homes. We bought 6 different homes over in Tampa when we lived over there, renovated them and flipped them. That was so much fun. I loved doing that. My biggest job was for 6 years. I was the Southeastern Divisional Real Estate Manager for Progressive Insurance Company. So I was responsible for all of the real estate in Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. So I had like 62 offices. So anytime, I'm sure everyone's heard of Progressive Insurance. So anytime, and I was in charge of all.
Member, been with them for like 20 plus years.
Right, they're a great company. So I managed a portfolio of probably 60 or more properties in those 3 states, and I was responsible for site selection, lease negotiation, designing the space, hiring the contractors, and then ongoing property management for those properties. And I also was the facility manager for our 2 main corporate offices in Sable Park. So I think I had a staff of about 20 people. And it was a great job, but I traveled constantly because Progressive Style was, they weren't going to ever shut down. So my moves would have to happen on Friday at 5 o'clock. And then we'd go in, renovate, rebuild the whole office. And by Monday morning, they better be up and running with the coffee brewing at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
So we worked around the clock. And so I traveled a lot, but it was a great job. And then just like in everything in corporate America, they, you know, they consolidated and they were moving the real estate department to Cleveland, Ohio. And I wasn't going to leave the beach to go to Cleveland. So after that, I figured I didn't want to be, I was kind of, my husband talked me out of being a residential agent for years because he just felt that I'd be never home and always working weekends and evenings. And he was used to me, you know, not being home for quite a while. So I decided to get my CAM license. So I studied for my CAM license, which is Condo Association Management. And I worked for Lamont Management in Treasure Island for 4 years. And if any of the agents are watching this, I'm sure your path has crossed Lamont because they manage a lot of the condominiums in Treasure Island, St. Pete Beach, and all of that. So if you're needing to get board approval or condo documents, you've probably talked to them. So for 4 years, I worked there and I was responsible for 12 properties on the beaches. And that 4 years taught me so much as far as I was responsible for preparing their budgets, enforcing their rules and regs, rewriting their rules and regs, everything about condo management, which just gave me such a great background for real estate. And as I was doing that, I just watched all of these owners come in and they're like, hey, I want to sell my condo or I want to lease my condo. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is just so much opportunity for me. I need to go into real estate. I mean, I've had my license active, you know, since '92, and I've used it in all different ways, but not in the residential end. So I finally took the plunge. I actually joined Keller Williams, but I was still working at Lamont, so I was trying to do both. And that doesn't work out so well. I needed to really focus 100% on it. So I think I'm going on my 8th year anniversary, August 1st, with Keller Williams. And so I think just the experience, I mean, I've actually had transactions from my coworkers at Progressive back in the 90s that I've sold homes to. So all of my experiences with all these different real estate positions over the years has really helped to feed my business. The people that were in the condos, the people that were from Progressive, my friends, all of that. So I think that's pretty much what it is. And the little mobile home park, Eagle's Nest, was one of my properties that I managed, and there's 100 mobile homes in there. And, you know, at one point they gave me 7 listings and I'm like, I can't really turn this down. And it's just steady money. And, you know, I know it inside and out because I know the board people, I know all their ins and outs and rules and regs. So, you know, I just don't have the heart to, you know, to turn anybody away. So I just try to help everybody.
Right. First of all, I have to say, I love hearing your story again because I forget how similar our backgrounds were. And if you go back and listen to my spotlight when we talked about my career, our paths are very similar, how we got here. So I love that. And we both can attest that being condo managers, and there's a certain freedom and awe that comes with being a real estate agent versus being a condo manager, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of respect that you've held that position and been in that. I always felt like a mini mayor when I was in that role, a mayor of the town, right?
Yes. And you know, prior to real estate, I was in human resources. So I was used to interviewing people, hiring people, resolving problems, you know, interpreting rules and regs and all that kind of stuff. So it all really has helped me all along the way.
Yeah, very good. So you obviously have already tipped your hand a little bit that you have had transactions with people back from the 90s. So 8 years with Keller Williams. Tell us what that journey was like when you got started in real estate. How did you start the process of closing deals and getting transactions?
I think the first couple of transactions I did were from friends that knew I would, had was with Keller Williams, and then some people from the condominiums. I think that's really how I started. I remember that I was taking, I think it was Ignite in the beginning, and my phone was ringing off the hook during class. I was so stressed out because I got so busy so fast. And I felt like I didn't even know what I was doing, because I had just started. And I'm the kind of person that likes to know, I just like to know everything about everything. So I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And I remember I was probably in the fourth class and my phone was just ringing. I had so much business coming at me. And I just stopped taking the class. I just thought, you know what? I've got to deal with this business that I have, and I'm lucky to have it. And I can go back and take this class, at a later time. So I just kind of just fell into it, and then I leaned on, I remember Cheryl Cacciatore helped me at some times. A lot of people along the way helped me because in the beginning I just felt like I really didn't know what I was doing. So
Right.
my very first deal that I wrote was for over $1 million.
Wow.
And it was with Danya Perry, who was the listing agent. That was my first experience. And to be honest, I didn't even know how to write the contract. I didn't know where to get the contract because I was so new. I didn't even have time to go through any kind of training. So
Right.
that's why right now I do kind of try to help. I've brought a few people in along the way, like Vicki and Tanya and all kinds of people, and I'm always available to help people because I know how I felt when I had to write that first $1 million deal, my first deal, and I didn't even know what I was doing, and I didn't want to look like an idiot, so.
Oh, well, I love that story. Thank you for sharing it. I think you're missing part of the story, though. How did people know all of a sudden that you wanted to help them buy and sell homes? What did you do to tell them?
Um, in the beginning, I don't remember. I think it was just word of mouth. I don't remember.
Was it
Um,
your mouth opening up and telling people that you were selling real estate now?
yes, I think so.
Was Dave working as
Um,
a secret agent behind your back telling people that you were selling real estate?
I honestly don't remember. I think it started with, my very first transaction was, I was still with Lamont, was a friend of mine who wanted to buy in Terra Verde. So I think she was my very first transaction. And then of course, you know, since I was with Lamont for probably 6 months to a year, I was spreading the word to all of those condo owners in my 12 properties
Right.
that I was licensed and I was with Keller Williams. So that started it. And I did some postcards to keep in touch with them. And then of course, just Facebook and word of mouth really is, I think, how I started.
Right. And the word of mouth that I think what happened is that you opened your mouth and told people about it. And then because that has to be the first step.
Yes.
That you told people, hey, I'm selling real estate now.
Yes, absolutely.
I love the fact that you don't remember it means that you must have been doing that just a lot to garnish that kind of activity in your first month in the business.
Yes.
Congratulations. Yeah. What a way to start. And here we are about 8 years later in a very different world, in a very different situation. Tell us what your business is like now, Sheri.
Well, I'll tell you, last week I showed property for 7 days straight to 7 different groups of people.
Wow.
I had people in here from Virginia, New York, Georgia, all over. Every single day was a different group of people. So last week was full of buyers, and this week is kind of totally different. So, I just pretty much, I have a plan for what I think I'm going to be doing that day, but it's just, sometimes it just changes. I started out thinking I was going to be a buyer's agent, but as I look at my statistics, I'm really half and half. So I'm really both listing and deal with buyers. And I'm starting to see now after 8 years doing it, that I have repeat customers. I have some customers I've sold 3 homes to in this 8 years. I'm starting to see referral business come and that type of thing. So I am on, you know, I finally, I'm technically challenged. Everybody knows that about me. No, but I finally got a Facebook page for business, and, you know, and the personal one. And even that connected me with people, again, from my past, from Progressive, even from my hometown. And so everything like that, everything you do just kind of feeds it.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because sometimes we think we have to be high tech. After all, we're at Keller Williams, a technology company now. We're all about technology. And I love the fact that you say I'm technically challenged, yet you're still using our tool, the tools that are available to you. Facebook, you mentioned that. It's such a great way to connect with people. And you're always telling your story about what you're doing in life and in real estate. And it creates a place where people go, oh, Sheri, I can call her as my local market expert. I want to move to Florida, or I want a bigger house, or whatever that is. So what do you do currently beyond Facebook in your current business to get connected to 7 buyers that are looking to buy in 1 week? What are you doing now to stay top of mind and gain business?
You know, I still use postcards. You know, I do postcards in my farming area. I do postcards if I've sold something. And I always seem to get a response from my postcards. I had one seller that she held my postcard for 3 years in her desk drawer. And then when she was ready to sell, it was there, and she called me and pulled it out. You know, so I try to do that. I socialize a lot. You know, I have a lot of friends, and we're pretty active in our neighborhood, in our community, and I have great friends. And you know, so people just are always giving out my card and spreading the word. And you know, it's not unusual for one of my friends to say, oh, hey, I met somebody at, you know, at a restaurant or a bar, and I gave them your card, and then they'll be calling me. So I do Zillow. You know, I know that's probably, but I have been on Zillow for probably the whole 8 years, and it has fed my business as well. And because I've done it so long, I think I'm when I advertise a listing, I'm the only listing agent that appears on my listing, so that feeds my business. I do open houses as well, and I get leads from my open houses. So all of the things that, you know, that Keller Williams teaches you to do, I do. And I've gotten a lot better with technology. So now, in the beginning, I was very afraid of it. Now I'm kind of challenged by it. So I'm like, I can figure this out. And now I'm diving in a whole lot more than I used to 8 years ago. So trying to figure things out, watching videos. This quarantine time has really helped me. I've taken so many courses. I got my resort and second property specialist designation during this time when we were home, and watched a lot of videos of how to do things I just made a list of things that I needed to work on. And every day I tried to do one of those things. So I tried to do something for my business that was an extra. I tried to do something for myself, and then I tried to do something for my house, you know, a project that I had been putting off. So that was kind of my whole theme during this whole time.
I love that, Sheri. Thank you for sharing. One of the last things you said is that you don't learn for just learning's sake. You learn for earning's sake, because you take something that you learn and you actually put it into action then. And that is the key when you are learning based, and you look at new things, is that when you take a class, what am I going to take from this and actually put into action in your business? The other thing that I heard that you ran through quickly, yet I think it was a powerful show of how you have built a business, because you're not on a one-legged stool that's teetering. You've not looked at one source as the only way to build a business. You had strategies. I think you mentioned at least 5. I heard your sphere of influence, your postcards for your farm, Zillow leads, Facebook and social media, and there was one other thing that you said too that I had counted 5.
Open houses, probably think
open houses. Thank you.
Yes.
Open houses. So you have a strategy that includes multiple different sources to grow your business. And that's why it's been successful. And the great thing about it is that each one of those things feeds into the other. And it's that type of activity that creates this multiplication factor. This is a Kristen term, a multiplication factor that actually blows up the activity that you're doing, because your sphere is seeing that your postcards, and your postcards are seeing that you have open houses, and your open houses saw you on Zillow, and it all feeds into each other, and then grows from there. So that is the power of having multiple strategies. Yes. Of how you're going to grow your business and sustain it and continue to build it. If you had one piece of advice to agents who are just getting into the business now, what would that be?
I would say take every opportunity to learn from someone else. Do an open house with another agent to learn. Carry your cards around. Don't be afraid to talk to strangers, you know, at a restaurant or at a store, wherever you are, even at the beach. You know, I know people are social distancing right now, but I mean, sometimes, you know, you'd even stroll into the grocery store unknowingly having your name tag on, and next thing you know, someone stops you and is asking you about real estate. So don't be afraid to talk to people, to give out your card. And not in a pushy way. I've never pushed real estate. That's just not my thing. I'm just more, you know, just talkative and fun and friendly and stuff like that. So it's usually I'm pulled into a conversation with some friends or talking to someone, and next thing you know, they find out I'm a realtor, and it just kind of evolves. So it's never in a pushy way. But I think it's important for people to just, you know, tag along. Like the other day, I was showing properties, and I asked Vicki Orsini, I'm like, do you want to go with me just for the experience? You know, because just opening the lockbox, you know, you're carrying all of this stuff. You've got the keys, you've got the lockbox, you've got your listings, you've got the people, you have your mask, you have your wet ones, you know. I mean, so she went with me, and just for the whole experience of it. So I think that's, you know, important to do, and it's not so scary when you have to do it yourself for the first time.
Right, when you know the logistics of it and what goes into it, the planning and the how the conversation goes while you're showing. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And at the same time, there are a lot of agents out there who might not be experiencing what you're experiencing right now, with a lot of business coming at you. What would you say to experienced agents who might not feel this quite the way that you're feeling it, quite the way you're experiencing it? What would you say to them, that something that you've done during this time that you think can be attributed to the fact that you are continuing to be an agent of choice for people that know you, love you, and trust you?
Well, you know, a lot of my business comes from people out of state. And so I think it is important to try to reach those people in whatever way that they can. I mean, I have people flying in, which is tough because you're on their schedule. You know, when they're here, you've got to be available whenever it is. You know, they want to get their beach time in, they want to look at property early in the morning, whatever. But I've had people that fly in and look one day and buy a property. And then I have customers that I've been working with them for 5 years. They come down once or twice a year. You know, they're on my auto emails. I stay in touch with them. When they come down, they call me, we go look at property, and then they eventually buy. So just don't give up. Stay in touch with people, build your database and work it, and stay in touch and let them know what's going on. And every once in a while, reach out personally. Like, hey, you know, I do auto email a lot, but I also am searching myself, and if I see something that just looks perfect for them, you know, then I send it to them personally, and I'm like, this one is perfect for you. When are you coming down next? You know, so I try to do that. So I think it's just important to try to reach out beyond maybe your sphere, and try to get to other areas.
Okay, very good. And I don't know if you've done this yet. Uh, However, in Command, there are analytics that actually show where the majority of referrals are coming and the majority of people are coming to this area. We can see the referral pattern. So you can actually see where you want to geo-target your ads on Facebook through Command so that you can really be reaching out to those cities that are moving to this area. So there's ways to do that and not have to wonder or guess, but actually
Right.
have analytics behind it. So very good. So Sheri, one of the things that always touches my heart about you is that you have bounced back from some trials in your life. And without, I'm not trying to put you on the spot to get too personal yet. It was really powerful for me to see you go through things in life and then find your way back to build your business back up, and that you took the time to be present for the things. I mean, we're here to have lives worth living, first of all, and you show putting your family first in so many beautiful ways. And so I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about what that's meant for you to be able to be in a place that supports that, and how you were able to bounce back.
Yeah, so, I had two rough situations over the last few years with my mom got sick, and I was lucky enough to be in real estate that afforded me the opportunity to be with her for 2 months. And in that 2 months, you know, I was still worked. My sister and I were tag teaming with my mom, but I was still working my business, checking out my emails and all of that. And I referred my business to people, to other agents at Keller Williams, knowing that they had my back during this time. And when it was all said and done, I had nothing. I had no listings. I had nothing in my pipeline. I was like back to zero, just to square one. And it didn't, at that point, it really just didn't even matter to me because I was where I needed to be, and I was so happy that I was there. That's when Eagles Nest had called me and give me 7 listings, and I'm like, all right, well, they're $20,000 a piece, but it's 7 listings, I'll take them, you know. And then of course my husband had open heart surgery, which was another tough time in my life. And again, my priority was with him, making sure, I was right by his side and helping him through that. And there's just so many good people at the office that, you can trust to just say, hey, Jason's helped me out. I mean, just so many people. Tanya, that I refer business and I know that they had my back, and I was happy to do it. And I knew that they would do the same for me in that circumstance. So family is important, and you only have them, they're in your life, and it's the number one thing. And business is secondary. And I do work a lot, I will say. I work 7 days a week, pretty much, it seems like 24 hours a day. But when I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation. And people always say to me, why do you want to go to the beach? Why do you go to the beach for vacation? You live on the beach. And I say, because it's away from work. It's the only time I can really relax is when I'm not, if I'm on St. Pete Beach, I'm working. So I can't relax. So I like to just, take that week and try to detach a little, although I've written so many deals in the airport, it's not even funny. It just seems like if you want business, that's my other thing. If you want business, plan a vacation, because as you're packing, you're trying to get away, your phone will be ringing off the hook. Happens every time. But rely on other people when you need to. Rely on other people, people that work like you, have that same work ethic that you know that you can trust, and it will just all come back. So, you do the right thing, and it'll come back to you.
I love that.
Treat other people the way you want to be treated, and that's pretty much what I do.
Yes, yes. I see that, and I see that you do that. You have, I say, taken advantage in the best way possible. You've taken advantage of the role that you have, of the business that you chose, of the culture that you're in, so that you can put your family first. And the real remarkable thing to me is how quickly then you built your business back up when you had gotten through those trials. and you made that a big priority, and you came back and you said, I'm doing this, and you did it, and you built it back up because you still have a sphere of people around you who know you, love you, and trust you as the local market expert that you are. And you knew to tap back into that and start the process again. So congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
And thank you for the beautiful example of putting your family first and still working a business and using your resources.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for having me.
Oh my gosh,
You
Sheri.
had to twist my arm for a long time.
Well, you know, we had a conversation recently about your big why and why you're working your real estate business. And I won't tip your hat of what that is. I will say though that this is part of that journey because as you continue to talk about your success, you help other people succeed, and your success continues to grow as we help others. So thank you, Sheri, so much for coming and telling us your story. Is there any last words or anything else that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
Nothing I could think of. I mean, I really do enjoy what I do. I really do. So it's all worth it. And I wish I would have done it years ago. I mean, I've been licensed, like I said, since '92, and just like did everything except this residential piece. And I wish I would have done it sooner.
You and me both, absolutely. Well, very good, Sheri. Thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming on and telling your story. You did a great job, and I am sure we will share this out with lots of people. If anybody has questions for Sheri, just post it on Facebook, and I'm sure Sheri will be happy to help answer your questions. So, all right, everyone, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.